Thank you for joining XR Room, India's first AR/VR podcast. And today I'm delighted to have with me Mr. Naveen Ajay Kumar, who's the XR engineer at SS Innovations International Inc. So, Naveen, welcome to XR Room podcast. Why don't we start with a small, brief introduction and background?
Thank you. Hi, Eddie. Myself, Naveen Ajay Kumar. I'm, as you described, I work as an XR engineer in SS Innovations. We have this department called SSI Maya within SS Innovations, which is primarily focused on creating healthcare applications, products, and software using XR. And myself, as a background, I'm an electronics and telecommunications graduate, and I have a postgraduate degree in robotics and industrial automation. And since XR itself is it's a technology that is slowly being adapted right now, it came in sync with the robotics platform as a whole. When I was actually doing my postgraduate, there were some uh, like projects and themes where we were using all these headsets to create, like visual senses for robotics. And through that, I slowly got into this field, joined SS Innovations, and there I found my first actually impactful product that we create, like using XR and robotics to create a healthcare application that could directly impact people's lives.
All the tech stack is converging, and robotics leveraging with XR is going to play a huge role in the future of healthcare. Before we get into that, I think it'll be great if you could kind of give my audience a background on what SS Innovation is and its their mission.
Yes, so SS Innovations is uh, a company that has produced India's first surgical robotic system, the SSI Mantra. So we have about 11 surgical robotic systems across India and one in an international space, where we have approximately done 270 surgeries already. Pretty complex cases, of course. Like we mainly treat cancers. We also treat like benign surgeries, like for gallbladder removal and other surgeries. So mainly working to improve people's life lives through like innovation and technology. So SS Innovations is founded by Dr. Sudhir Srivastava, who was one of the pioneers in robotic cardiac surgery in the early days. Like even when the whole technology of surgical robotics was pretty new, he was one of the people who actually developed many surgical techniques for cardiac surgeries. And cardiac surgery in robotics is still a very niche platform. Only a handful of people are actually doing it across the world. And SS Innovations is very focused on bringing back uh, this very helpful technique so that people can benefit from it. Our main focus is, like how cardiac surgery, they have to like split the chest, split the sternum, remove the bone, and then go an open heart surgery. But it's very crucial for the patient to recover from it. It takes about 6 to 8 months to just get back to a functional status. But with robotic technology, the person who was operated on can come back to a fully functional status within a week. So that's the impact surgical robotics actually gives. And SS Innovations is actually focused on that. And we're also developing many other technologies within SS Innovations. Just I mentioned about like something like SSI Maya. So we are also creating accessory technologies that could help surgeons and surgical staff in such a way that they could reduce the cycle time or reduce the surgery time for patients so that they can quickly perform the surgery and send them back to their daily work schedules much faster as possible.
Could you elaborate on this a little bit, because giving some more examples on, robotics as well as the extended reality, how's that being used over there? If you could explain that, that'll be really nice.
Robotics on its own, the technology itself is pretty self-sufficient for like robotic surgery. Of course, you must have heard of laparoscopic surgery. It is using like minimally invasive ports that go through like fingertip-sized holes within a patient's body. The patient's body is insufflated, and then the instruments work as an extension of the surgeon's hands inside. So what robotic technology does is it enables a surgeon to use, of course, as a term here, use 7 degree of motion of the hand. So our hands can basically move. Of course, since you're in the XR field, you know what 6 DOF, 7 DOF, and everything is. So the hand control technologies can actually work within the patient body that could mimic the surgeon without having any uh, ergonomic impact on themselves. Like for example, in laparoscopic surgery, the surgeons have to hold the instruments like this continuously for like I don't know how long the surgery goes. Could be 6 hours, 8 hours, but this could severely impact the performance of the surgeon itself. But with our technology, we have an open page console. The surgeon can basically sit back, relax, just like how they're watching a TV. They can actually watch what's inside the patient, use robotic instruments just like game controllers, and they can basically operate it at much ease and fast. So where XR basically comes into play is the basis of the technology of robotics itself is on parallel with XR. So mixed reality is of course a display device, display technology, basically how to immerse yourself. And robotics itself, surgical robotics is somewhat immersing yourself within the patient's body. So you want to look inside the patient's body. We have a camera, we have instruments, and now you are somehow trying to perform actions like suturing, cauterization, and everything else. So this all resembles gaming in a very particular fashion. And of course, what else is a better way to understand immersive gaming is through XR only. So the parallels lie already there. The technology is the same. The communication protocols are the same. It's just a matter of time that they all have to merge anyways. So that's what my entire scope of development is. Like, of course, you have different technologies sitting here and there. Of course, surgical robotics comes in healthcare, and XR is still, like getting into many different platforms. So why not bring them into surgical healthcare and use them as a technology that could, like basically give the surgeon another helping hand.
Right. So this SSI Maya platform that you are talking about, which leverages mixed reality and robotic surgery, which are the hospitals currently leveraging it? What's the partner? This thing, if you could talk about that, would be nice.
Yes. So currently, none of our technologies are in the market yet because, of course, the main crucial aspect of surgical technologies, you have to go through multiple medical regulations. So you have to do clinical trials, you have to do a post-market research and analysis, and after all that happens, then you can actually release into a product. Within India, the entire ecosystem for healthcare devices is relatively new, but it's still very comprehensive. So we are actually following through that. We have a hospital which we have actually done trials for SSI Mantra called Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute in New Delhi. It's one of the most premier institutes, and we have a technology partnership with them. And so any aspect of accessory technology or whatever we do, we basically go and have a clinical trials there. So we are hoping that one of our technologies can uh, come up there pretty soon. And it's an accessory technology, not directly impacting a surgery. It's basically just uh, it's a DICOM software, if I can say. It's to visualize the patient's internal organs in a immersive fashion. So that's what we're working on currently, and that would be in trials this month.
Could you expand on what DICOM software is, and maybe when you're at it, maybe also explain that how XR is being leveraged for training?
DICOM software, digital imaging and communication in medical, I guess. So it's basically just a format, just like how we have formats for images like JPEG and PNG. So DICOM is also an extension for medical images, which is curated by one of the healthcare bodies across the world, and that is basically an image file for any CT, MRI, or X-ray that you produce from a diagnostic center. And the DICOM software that we are developing is basically just leveraging all these images, converting them to a 3D model. And those 3D models, of course, can then be visualized in mixed reality headset. So this way, the surgeon can actually look at a patient's anatomy much clearer in a much broader setting, and of course in an immersive and three-dimensional view. So they don't have to imagine the margins. For example, of course I've seen this in surgery. So even when they are explaining to a patient using the CT or MRI chart, okay, this is where your tumor is and this is where we'll be operating, I don't think the actual patient would understand what exactly is going through. They're just showing a slice of them. So they're okay, this is where my kidney might be, or this is where my liver might be. and this is where they'll be cutting. They're basically going blindly into the surgery. So this way, through XR, we can make patients understand what exactly the surgery is all about. And this is also one of the biggest aspects we are working on. Just as you asked for like training, apart from engineers or doctors training the patient themselves or educating the patient themselves that what exactly you'll be undergoing in a surgery, what is your ailment, and everything else would create a much more impactful reason for the patient. And for surgical training, of course, we are using virtual reality. And virtual reality and augmented reality is an enabling technology where one can describe what a technology or a device is. Of course, right now the medium of communication for most of the trainings are like presentations, and presentations, personally, sitting through a 2 or 3 hour long presentation is very tiresome, and I don't know how much people would actually retain or recall information from that. So you need to have multiple sessions of training through like slides and everything, just so that people can finally understand. Okay, this is what I do. Then they'll go and practice in real life. But with XR, I'm hopeful, and with of course a lot of case studies have come out that immersive learning is much more is retained much more by people who are basically trained, and this way we could actually reduce the learning curve. So, for example, if a surgical staff or a nurse who would actually know how to use a machine would take them about 10 or 20 days just to understand how the system works. Then they get into the operation theater to use it. And that too, I don't know how confident they'll be, okay, am I using it right or wrong? But using XR, I'm pretty sure that the learning time can be reduced by half or more. And we can basically bring them to actual functioning methods, or actually bring them to a complete functioning status much quicker than traditional methods of training.
Right. And you mentioned about how these, 3D anatomy of the human body helps understand not just the patient, also helps them learn better of understand. Because so far, I think most of our X-rays and everything has been 2D. Here, through these 3D images, I think the patient will also understand much better of what the procedure is and stuff like that. Besides the surgical training for your physicians and so on and so forth. Talk to us a little bit more about this role of AI in healthcare and how you guys leveraging that.
Of course, AI is growing like very fast right now. All the language models and all the like generative algorithm that is existing right now, and everything. Of course, it's at a very nascent stage. People are using it for research purposes, or people are using it for entertainment. I myself personally use Midjourney so much for my concept designs that I'm starting to doubt myself. Like, what am I actually doing? I used to do concept designing back just 4 years ago. Just like think about it, sit and create sketches and develop a product. Right now, AI is churning out so much information for me. I just have to pick what is right from it and just create my product. So of course, AI is already impacting people's lives, and AI within medical, it's not a very new technology. People have already used it to identify, cancers and malignant tissues and others. Uh, and the way that we are using, of course, is pretty much the same, which is already existing. That using, identifying cancer tissues, identifying the margins of where the surgery might occur. So those technologies already exist, but they are relatively higher on cost. So to import a technology from Sweden or somewhere else where they are already using these kind of technology, it could be very, of course, expensive. It could be a logistical nightmare, to get the technology, come here, train people, and then, like how to use it in the everyday life. And if it is not impactful, the entire technology might stay stagnant. But developing such a technology within India and creating a technology that is much more accessible for surgeons would actually impact more. And AI, with our tool in AI, that's what we're actually trying to do: create uh, surgical visualizations that would basically give surgeons a much more understanding. Okay, like if the surgeon has to think about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, okay, what I'm looking at, is it the right anatomy that I'm looking at? but the AI could suggest them, okay, this is what you're looking at. They could have a they could have options they could pick. Okay, so this could be a ureter, or this could be a chunk of a liver or anything, and they could basically speeden up the process.
Currently the only hospital which has been leveraging the tool services that SS Innovation is providing is the Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institutions. Are there other hospitals, organization, individual doctors who are at least thinking about or leveraging these things? I mean, the services and products that you're building. What's the plan ahead? I mean, how do you kind of bring this to the market? Is largely my question.
Oh, okay, just a correction. Rajiv Gandhi is still not using any of our technology. We'll be going into a clinical trial this month.
Okay.
And then of course we'll get to know that how they're actually using the technology, the like our DICOM software, and uh, so other hospitals they already have similar tools. Of course, DICOM visualizers are not a very new technology. Like there are already existing softwares that people use. The only difference is we are bringing in augmented reality to such an extent that people can, like they can visualize three-dimensional objects within their screens. So that is one slight difference that we have. And of course, one of our primary engineers, Mr. Avi Dwivedi, he's been very crucial on this project. He has been working on the software aspect of it. So other hospitals, they of course we do demonstrations for most of our technologies in our Gurgaon R&D office, and every time they come they look at our technology, they are very impressed. They somehow get a gist of what the future would be. We show a bunch of our working prototypes that we are working in mixed reality and augmented reality. They look at it, they of course they're very impressed, and they want this in the market as soon as possible. They're like, when is it coming? And we give them an answer, okay, it will come soon, like in the months of time. But of course, as I mentioned, we have to go through all these like regulatory aspects. And one major challenge that we have is there is no regulatory, so medical regulatory rules for mixed reality, augmented reality, or AI yet. I hope someone from the government is actually writing something along these lines, or if you could basically build a technology that could, that like become a groundwork, or like a foundation for what these technologies could be in the future. That will be really helpful. So this is one of the challenges that we would probably be facing when we come into the market. And of course, the interest is there for it. Initially, if we could just capture 10 to 20 hospitals who would use our technology, we can build a small chain or a small ecosystem where we could slowly expand, and it could become a staple where patients or surgeons can use AI and AR technologies in their everyday life with smart glasses or anything. That could like they could just uh, directly visualize a patient's anatomy or patient's heart rate and everything, just like how we use smartwatches. I hope that smart glasses can basically tell people that, okay, you are facing some sort of a chronic stomach issue. Go visit your doctor, and it gives you a direct visualization. Okay, this is what's happening in your stomach right now, and the doctor is like, okay, I'm going to check it right away, and then you just create a I know I'm talking science fiction right now, but I think it is going there, and I can see it within the next 5 to 10 years.
What we call science fiction has largely over the years have all become reality. So what is the
Yes.
science fiction that you are talking about is going to get reality? Because I think that what you gave a glimpse of, I think should be become real in the next few years, because we're talking about digital twins and so on and so forth. So maybe paint a picture of what the future of healthcare is going to look like in the next couple of years.
Yes, just as you mentioned, digital twins, that is one aspect that I've been working like very hard right now. As a background as a designer, I work with 3D models, I work with textures, I work with shader graphs, and I work with all everything that is basically building as a fabric for the extended reality applications. So creating a digital twin of a patient could be a static version. So I can basically photograph you, I can create a 3D model of the external structure. That is an existing technology. But how could like how can we photograph someone's insides and then keep it stored in some place where you can basically access it every time you want. And of course, imaging technologies are very limited to, like CT and MRI. In CT, people use radiations, and of course, you cannot expose people to radiation for long prolonged times, because that could itself cause like major issues. MRI, of course, it's not using radiations. It is an application that is heavily impacted with, like patents of some very big companies, and not everyone has access to creating MRI. So you have to go to a particular diagnostic center that uses such and such technology to get your imaging done. So when internal imaging becomes a staple product in every household, there we can introduce mixed reality. That could, of course, I had mentioned one more thing. I want a looking mirror. I just basically stand in front of a 6 feet mirror and just ask, like, what is my health today? And it just answers me that, okay, you're having a heartburn, or you have a pain in your left leg. And it just analyzes your entire body, just gives you a complete transparent view of yourself. Like, it's your digital twin, just a see-through version of yourself. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I have to do something about it. It's very similar. Okay, if you have a wound on your hand that you can visually see, you would rush to get a band-aid, or you put something. But many people are walking around with wounds within themselves, and they don't even know about it because they can't see it. And that's one thing that I would really like to bring out. Okay, you just look what's inside you and take action before things are too late. And personally, I've lost a few of my relatives to this. They have they haven't um, they have not taken care of themselves. They went to the end stage of their diabetic tenure, and finally they got to know that, okay, nothing can happen. And in the end, their lives were impacted. They had organs failed, and they like finally no more. But that is one thing that has impacted me. Okay, create something that such an existence would not happen again. Like, just the excuse of, okay, I cannot visit my doctor because I was very busy at work, and I cannot, like, look after myself because I have other things to do. So of course, we have like our jobs, and we have our commitments to do in every day. But that should not stop you from taking care of yourself. And I'm no expert to say on this. I'm not taking care of myself either. But I want to create something that would, like, I would use uh, health as a excuse. Like, I could, just like how I was like, okay, I'm going to order food from today. I'm going to order food today from an app. And then, okay, I'm going to check what's wrong with me today. I want to create something like that.
I mean, how cool would that be? If we have a digital twin, which kind of gives you the entire health data, how good a body is feeling, what's the problems, and before anything drastic happens, we could take this to the doctor or the healthcare, and get that sorted. How cool that would be. Yes, I think we're sitting at a fantastic point of time, and all of these converging technologies are going to create great benefits. And I hope that the regulators, and I hope that the innovators, and the governments, they all come together, because healthcare itself is going to be completely upended. And I
Yes.
think we should welcome these change, because there is that conversation that, that AI is going to come, it's going to take away all of our jobs. But I think, throughout history, I think there's this tool, which is, you can call it technology, you could call it fire. It's always been augmenting humans, and it's always will. And I think we need to accept it. But I think there's a fine line being creating technology which is human first, because obviously there's this tech maximalists who are creating technology which is for, like, personal moving ahead. But I think, if you look at in a broader picture, that we create technology for everyone, I think we'll go into a world which is really great, with great things happening. Any last notes to my listeners, or advice, to students who want to get into the space that you are at?
Just go for it. Like, just pursue. Like, if you have interest in building, like, new technologies, and I'm pretty sure the latest technology that you can build is within like augmented reality, mixed reality, robotics, and AI. That is what the future is right now. Like if you just go through LinkedIn and you just scroll through, every post is something about this. So there is no lack of, I can't say jobs, there is no lack of opportunities to build in this field like of mixed reality. So I would just like to, because I've seen people who are like pretty discouraged. Okay, I have like I can only do graphic designing, and I can only do like like user interface design. So what could be the next step that I can go into? I'm like, just go for mixed reality, because that is the next step of user experience. Like um, if you want to portray something to a person, apart from from 2D to 3D, mixed reality is the next step to go. So once you get in that, then you understand how the technology works, get into programming, get into how to build applications. So you'll understand programming, and if you understand programming, you can also get into robotics. Like create automated objects or automated functionality. So everything could merge at a certain aspect. The only thing is, go as fast as you can, because of course everyone is getting into this field, every single person, and it's not in like years, it's not in like 1 or 2 years. Every single month there's a new technology that is basically backtracking everything else. So as soon as you get into this, maybe you'll be like very fruitful in your career.
Naveen, really, really appreciate you taking time and being part of the podcast. I think, yes, I mean, rightfully you mentioned we had the transition from the 2D to the 3D world, and that transition is going to open up huge benefits, and not just for healthcare. I mean, all possible industries, whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, whether it's enterprise. And yes, I think the listeners should get into it because it is the future, and there will be huge opportunity. But you also rightfully pointed out, I think the early movers will take the cake, because what's cool today is becoming redundant, so yeah. Please, the listeners, I mean, please jump on, because it's a massive opportunity over here. And to my listeners, if you like what you see in here, then please press the subscribe button. And until next time, see you guys. Bye bye. Thank you. Again, I really appreciate it.
Thank you.